Hello and welcome back to Enshrouded. My name is Cloak and Smoke, and I am excited to take a look at the new Souls of the Frozen Frontier update. I'm going to pull up the patch notes on Steam here. So let's dive in. So it looks like this is just a briefing by the devs just on what to look forward to in the game, what their goals are going forward in this. And they're looking for a lot of feedback from players. I suggest you guys check out the videos. They're informative and well done. Gives you a good glimpse into what you're going to be looking at. Obviously, hop into the game is another way of doing that. And let's hop right into the highlights. So obviously the big one being the new playable area, Albaneve Summits. So they've expanded Embervale with this new zone, which is a mountain biome north of Embervale. So all those blocked off areas where you were like instant dead, yeah, that's now open. So that's super exciting because I've been waiting for this one for a while. I believe there's gonna be some temperature stuff in there too. It looks like a lot of the locations contain ice lakes, frozen rivers, deep snow, new flora and fauna, and updrafts with the wind. So that'll be something to look forward to, a new challenge for sure. I'm sure it's gonna be a little bit of a learning curve, but it should be fun. There's also new foes. They're in their words, new foes and fresh tactics to be aware of. Powerful creatures rumored to haunt the highest of peaks. So maybe some ghost things. I know I saw some cyclopses in the videos there, so spoiler alert. There's also gonna be some friendly wildlife out there to check out, so I'm assuming for like cooking recipes, and you can go hunting. New shroud routes can be found to gain additional skill points, which will be great. I'm sure that's going to lead into a lot of new builds, and I believe there's new skills as well, so I haven't had a chance to look at that, but that'll be really interesting to see. There's also going to be some new storylines and quests to unlock exclusive achievements. I'm not much of an achievement junkie, so might not be everything I'm after, but I'm sure a lot of people out there are looking to be completionists about it, so it's good they're giving more options out there for other people. Level cap is up to 35, which is great. I think it was 25 prior, so that'll be good, jumping up 10 levels. That's really going to open up a lot of things in the skill trees. So crafting, so you can discover and collect rare resources, exclusive to the Albaneve Summits. Makes sense with the mountaintops. Hopefully there's a lot of like ore, and well, I'm sure everything's going to get new crafting stuff, but yeah, it just feels like mountainsides are going to be lots of new rock structures. Unlock and construct new crafting stations. Okay, so there's going to be more stations, so that means bases are going to have to get bigger. Definitely gonna have to change layouts. I think my base had some dead space. I think the whole second floor actually is dead space the way I left it, so I'll actually have stuff to put in there. Every class and subclass can craft unique armor sets, while new spells, skills, and perks expand your capabilities. Okay, so lots of new stuff. Huh, okay. That's exciting to hear. I love me some good armor. I'm hoping it's some cool looking stuff, because I left my character in not such a good state. Obviously you can see here he's kind of a mashup of looks. I couldn't quite decide. They've introduced dynamic weather. So the first iteration of the weather system is finally here. Experience a living world as weather changes dynamically across Embervale. So prepare to get wet or find some shelter. So there's actually going to be some rain. I'm assuming with the new zone, there's going to be... It said snow on the ground. I'm assuming... Oh, yeah. So high altitude areas are prone to snowfall and freezing temperatures, which can drain your body heat. Use specialized armor, special food, and consumables crafted from recipes available through NPCs to survive the cold. Simple tools like campfires and torches provide additional warmth when navigating the coldest areas. Okay, so there's going to be a combination of things you can do to survive in those lower temperatures. Cool if we get some like fur armor and stuff like that. That'd be real cool. New townsfolk. So the Flames power has brought more souls back to life. Yippee. Ready to join your settlement. Discover townsfolk across Embervale, unlock their quests, and bring them home. Those were always my favorite quests. I love expanding the base. I love expanding the crafting stations and bringing people in, so that's super exciting. Place new assistants in secondary bases, giving you full crafting functionality away from your main settlement. Okay, so they specifically want them in secondary bases, so not one big house. I don't believe that was a thing with the other ones. At least it wasn't on my behalf, because I definitely did put everybody in one area. But I guess now that they're going to be moving around, that's probably going to get pretty hectic. So I might look at putting all of them in separate houses, to be honest, which sounds like a lot, but I think it'll be really cool. Off the video I watched, the top video of this post, you can do a lot of things with the towns. A lot of customization right now. I used to use Valheim for like building, and this one looks like it's reaching that point or at that point now, depending on what your preferences are. But yeah, a lot of stuff you can do with that. So like I was saying, yeah, townsfolk can now wander, sleep in beds at night, and engage with the Flameborn. Okay, so they can approach you. You don't have to always follow them around, or approach them when they have a quest, maybe. Fresh cosmetics, outfits inspired by townsfolk's clothing are now available for the Flameborn, so there's going to be some more clothing options. I wonder if that means non-armor stuff, so just for appearance, like the cosmetic side of things. That's kind of cool, more options that aren't strictly about armor you're crafting. Farm animals and pets. Your base is about to get much livelier with farm animals and pets. Okay, that was kind of obvious from the statement of what it is, but okay, non-hostile animals can be tamed and brought home to produce valuable resources, provided you give them some food and shelter. Everybody in this game wants shelter to do anything, even the animals. With shelter and enough food, in time your animal flock may grow. Okay, so they can reproduce. That's actually pretty cool. I wonder what the options are. I wish it said in here. Which animals you could do. I'm assuming farm animals would be the bulk of that. It does say farm animals, so that would definitely be the one. Find and tame new pets across Emerald to join you, and yes, you can pet them. I'm guessing they're not going to be fighting with you, but maybe you can just bring them around as you're questing, or maybe they're just in your town. They greet you every time you come back to visit. That'd be kind of cool, especially if you have multiple bases. You could have like a pet at each base to kind of greet you as you're coming through. Looks like they did some visual updates and scene rendering. So it looks like they did some major improvements to scene rendering. Their aim was to update. For this update was to work on the quality and feel of the rendering of the scenario, or the scenery, sorry, and work on better and faster reactions to bright and dark scenes. So that'll be cool to kind of see as we're going in and out of dungeons. A new tone mapper was introduced, so that's going to improve overall imaging. They worked a lot on sky rendering, and just overall tone and exposure adjustments were made. Okay, so I mean, I don't care too much about that stuff. That's why I'm kind of just zipping through it. Feel free to hop on a Steam, give this a read if you're really into that stuff. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of how-tos online to get the best picture with the settings on your game, or with your setup, so definitely something some people are going to be interested in. Noticeable gameplay changes. So the grappling hook, which is something I did hear about, can now be used to pull airborne enemies into melee range, which is going to be huge for melee-specific builds. That was always such a struggle. You're waiting for them to come in, you're looking to parry them, and then line a couple hits. But now you'll be able to just pull them right in. I think that's a huge quality of life improvement for melee classes. It looks like it's going to be something in the skill tree to unlock, so probably not something you're going to start out with. Experience more challenging gliding mechanics with air turbulence effects affecting flight paths. Use the gameplay settings to switch turbulence off if you prefer to sip some tea while gliding across Embervale. Okay, so I know it said there was some up air before, but I guess some air turbulences affect your flight path, so maybe pushing us around a little bit. I don't know. The game can now be paused in single player mode, which is great because that's usually how I'm playing this. So I'll actually be able to pause and step away for a second, which would be great. You can adjust text size and 2 more altars to build in the new biome. So a lot of good things there. Some will affect, some won't, depending on what you're doing. And then they got a lot of gameplay updates, so I might not go through all of them. But yeah, now you can pause the gameplay when you're in single mode, which you just talked about, which is great. Level cap is raised to 35. New enemies in the region start at level 28. I'm assuming they're going to go to maybe 35 or 40. A new aerial phenomenon at certain locations of the mountains push players upwards while gliding. These upstreams allow reaching higher areas easily. So it's updrafts we were talking about. In the cold mountains, icy surfaces and deep snow pose new challenges for exploration and travel, or traversal. I'm assuming slippery surfaces, so maybe we'll be able to just run our way up everything. Areas at higher altitudes now have extreme coldness. Extreme coldness is lethal when players are exposed to it for too long without countermeasures. There are various different steps, like they were mentioned before, with armor. Looks like there were some potions and food, I'm sure, and torches and fire, obviously. So a lot of options they've given to fight it. I do remember in Valheim, I know I keep jumping back to that, but the cold was definitely like a hard area to get into as a newbie. You really want to come in with enough stuff to gather all the resources you can, pull them out, and then build your armor so you can stay out there for longer. So I wonder if it'll be kind of the same idea. The amount of body heat a player naturally has can be adjusted in the difficulty settings of the game. A new tier of weapons can be found in the world for each type of weapon and at several rarity levels. So that's exciting. Yeah, some new weapons to try out will be a lot of fun. Sure, we'll get some new builds going as we're playing through. Epic versions of the musical instruments can now be found in the world with increased effect. Several new consumables and throwables are available to make exploration easier to help in combat. Okay, I'm curious what the throwables are. Consumables, I'm assuming, are like potions or food. Especially with the cold resistance, we're going to want a lot of that stuff, I'm sure. The skill tree now has 2 new skills that allow, when unlocked, the use of the grappling hook during combat. New gameplay elements have been added to combat, such as a certain enemy projectile that can be parried and redirected back towards the enemy. Oh, that's cool. The merciless attack has a new animation when wielding daggers. The damage for the merciless attack is now higher when using daggers. Okay, yeah, daggers felt like needed a buff. I tried daggers, I think, while I was leveling the first playthrough. It just didn't do anything for me, but I like the playstyle of daggers, so I was a little disappointed. Gliding is now affected by aerial turbulence. On occasion, players need to readjust their flight paths to reach their target. The aerial turbulence can be switched off in the difficulty settings of the game. Okay, so it looks like you're going to have to make sure you can't just AFK fly around. You're going to actually have to pay attention. Cost of resetting the skill tree is now calculated based on the number of previous spent skill points. Okay, a lot of like technical stuff on that. I don't think that really is too big of an issue. The experience needed for leveling up has been reworked. While it felt like at the beginning of the journey the game provided a good amount of experience for regular level ups, starting around the Revel Woods, the various XP sources began to stack just a little bit too much so that many players reached max level a bit too early. Okay, so they've kind of put a bit of a cap on that once you hit those later areas. They fixed an issue that caused arrows to appear sideways for a short duration when firing from a bow. I'd ever noticed that myself, but I didn't use a bow for too long. Fixed several range combat issues when mana costs could be applied incorrectly or changed during charge duration for spells and arrows. Could be too short. So it looks like a couple examples there. And they apologized to speedrunners, so I guess there was incorrect skipping spell charge times and mana costs. So speedrunners were taking advantage of that. Improved the prioritization of grappling hook targeting. When an anchor is directly targeted, it will be prioritized higher, I guess, than an enemy in the area. When dying while being poisoned, the poison is now correctly removed after spawning. That's a good update. Nobody wants to spawn and die again. I never noticed that myself, but the poison was definitely a pain in my ass while I was playing. The item cleaned bandages no longer remove poison. Instead, there is now a dedicated antidote item that can be unlocked by collecting poison sacks. Later on in the progression, there are also an improvement version of the antidote item. Okay, so another thing to be putting on the action bar. Not a huge fan of that idea, but is what it is. The maximum number of altars buildable at max flame level is now 10. I think it was 8 before, so up 2. This one is Game World and Enemies. So yeah, obviously the new biome, Albaneve Summits. And it's offering around 100 new points of interest, so that's pretty cool. Definitely a lot of stuff to do there. The quest guiding Flameboard into the new region is unlocked when the flame is at level 6, and the Ghost Glider has been obtained. Okay, I believe I have all that, so I'll just be able to hop right into it. A new elixir well, and 6 new locations with Shroud Roots raised the maximum of attainable skill points, which is perfect. We need those. More than 20 new and updated new enemy types have been added to the world, which is really exciting. I feel like we were seeing a lot of the same ones, especially in dungeons. I mean, it was pretty much just skeletons, skeletons, skeletons. And by the end of the last one, I was just like, there's gotta be something different here. That's fun as the world, like the areas they were going to, they're very cool, very massive, some of them. But yeah, just some new enemies is going to be really nice. A new boss encounter has been added. A quest guides players through the steps to summon the new creature. Bring your best gear and maybe friends. Well, if I had any, I would. A new set of trees and plants grant new resources and can be used for the player's base. Weather changes now dynamically change over time. While it rains in certain areas of the Springlands and Revelwoods, at higher altitude, rain turns to snow. Okay, that makes sense. Wetness slightly debuffs players and affects the surroundings. Okay, so when it's raining, we're not super happy. That hopefully doesn't get frustrating. I don't know how often it's going to rain. It doesn't have like a time lapse here. Oh, never mind, it does. The frequency of unpleasant weather phenomena can be adjusted in the difficulty settings of the game. Okay, so you can set it to whatever you want. The models of the sage and indigo plants have been adjusted to make it easier to tell them apart. That actually will be helpful. Usually I just grab both of them though, so I'm not really differentiating. Numerous small areas of the world have been tweaked and fixed, such as grapple hook anchors, ladders that couldn't be climbed properly on floating objects. Fixed several locations where players could fall through terrain. I definitely got stuck many times, especially when I was messing around with like digging holes or pushing my way through doors. 4 new songs can be discovered from the campfire jam sessions. Previously found snow patches on the mountains surrounding Springlands and Revelwoods have been moved to higher altitudes. Climate change is caused by people, but in the case in particular, it's level designers who are responsible. Climate change is caused by people, but in this case in particular, it's level designers. Oh, that's a joke. Yeah, climate change in reality, not in the game. I was like, what? Like, there's NPCs causing climate change? I don't understand. They fixed numerous instances with the dynamic audio ambience detection. Fixed a mislocated aiming dot on bunnies. Added a new material to mountains at large distances to reduce pattern tiling. Polished and improved numerous textures on older props and items. Fixed an unintentional clearing of the fog of war at certain locations. Fixed the reward of the quest's underground infestation. Fixed incorrect collision at some older props. Improved the visuals at locations where terrain voxels and building voxels intersect. Added new background music tracks for the new region. Well, that's cool. Fixed an issue where dying effects on boss and crocodile corpses could restart the loop and tabbed out of the game and then return to the game. When tabbed out of the game. Okay. Not something I'd ever encountered. Oh, there's a lot. I didn't actually look at how many things they'd wrote in here. This one's on villagers and the next one's on crafting. So I'll go through those, and then I'm not going to go through technical improvements or UI. You guys are going to see that when you hop in the game, and I suggest you guys give a read over, just so you know if you need to make any changes for your setup. So for villagers, farm animals, and pets, all 7 crafting NPCs have a day and night cycle in which they explore the base, inspect interesting locations, take breaks, talk to nearby players, and go to sleep at night. So I'm guessing they're going to need their own bed now to be comfortable and willing to craft me some stuff. Oh no, never mind. Either on the floor, or if the player decides not to put a bed. A disturbing number of you. Or a lovely dedicated bed just for as they deserve. So, I mean, I think we should be putting beds in there for these guys. They do a lot of work for us. Crafting assistants have been added to the game. When found and unlocked in the game world, they can be placed in secondary player bases, offering the same crafting options as a crafting NPC. Okay, that's handy, so you don't have to have your NPCs traveling around with you. That's a huge quality of life upgrade. That's one of the biggest deterrents of me making other bases and actually putting time into them, is I just didn't want to deal with moving the NPCs around all the time. Townsfolk villagers have been added to the game. Similar to the crafting NPCs, villagers roam the base, offer dialogue options and new quests, and follow a simple day and night cycle. I wonder if you can set up people in the same house, like NPCs like couples or families, or how that's gonna work, or if everybody just needs their own space. It's almost gonna become like The Sims here. Freed villagers only become Sims if stuff like that happens. Freed villagers will offer more knowledge about the world and give the Flame Board numerous more quests. As a reward for your help, villagers will help you find more villager souls. So I guess as you progress through the quest lines. They'll also help you find lost pets to bring home, uncover vanity items for that extravagant looking look while you're exploring, and collectible items to decorate the halls of the Flameborn's home. The Summoning Scepter menu has been reworked to allow the placement of crafting NPCs, assistant crafting NPCs, and villagers. So it's all in one tool, which is handy. The Summoning Scepter now offers the option to set the roaming range for placed NPCs. Okay, so there's a roaming range. So you can limit them. I wonder if you can just keep them stagnant then. The Summoning Scepter can now be used to assign the selected NPC to a highlighted bed. Okay, so you can really have a lot of control on these guys now. The shelter state of the NPCs has been reworked. Previously, it checked the fixed location of roofs and walls over NPCs. Now the location of the assigned bed checks for a roof and walls. Okay, so people were cutting corners. I wonder what that means for walls with windows. If it's raining, because I know some games, if there's a window or an opening at all, you'll have to close that in or put a solid wall. They added new animations for voice lines for the NPCs. 6 different peaceful wildlife animals can be tamed, picked up, and placed in the player base. For every type of farm animal, there is now crafting food and bait. Okay, so each one gets their own different kind. For more information, talk to Emily Frey, the farmer. So she's actually going to have a lot more to do. Because before she was just wasn't much use to me, to be honest with you. I just made a small farm in the back. For every type of farm animal, there are now sleeping and feeding props that can be crafted by Emily Frey. Farm animals' feeding props are inventories that only accept the designated food items for the animal type that the prop is for. When the animal is hungry and can reach the filled prop, it will automatically take food from this stack. Okay, something to monitor. I wonder if you can set up a thing with Emily to refill those, or if we have to do that manually. Farm animals produce different types of resources at regular intervals as long as they find food and shelter when they need it. When there are 2 animals of the same kind within reach of each other, there is a chance that they will have offspring. Both parent animals need to have access to the food and shelter bed, and a free bed must exist for the offspring. Only 1 offspring can be born per night in each player base. Jesus, offspring a night? That's getting heavy with it. Even if several parent animals fulfill the preconditions. Animals can be petted. That's a weird way of wording it. You can pet the animals. It makes your character feel warm and fuzzy inside. It's got weirder. 6 new pets have been added to the game, consisting of 3 dogs and 3 cats. Quests lead the players to locations where the pets can be found and tamed in Embervale. Once tamed, they can be picked and placed into a player's base where they will roam and let themselves be petted. I don't know why that word It's just so weird to me. Petted is just, yeah, I don't like it. The taming difficulty being set in the difficulty settings of the game world, so I guess you can make it harder or easier for yourself. Should villagers, animals, or pets have trouble navigating a base, it can help to place them again at a different position. So I'm guessing there's going to be some NPCs getting stuck. If it would be best for the villagers to not leave their designated spots, the roaming distance can be set to 0 for each NPC individually. Okay, so you can make it so they don't roam around if you don't want to, which I think is a smart choice. I like the idea of them moving around, but I don't always. There's certain ones that I'm sure I'll just make fixed. Crafting, building, and terraforming. So there's a new crafting tier and completing new resources with completed new resources for mining, harvesting, and looting. Several new crafting locations increase the selection of available recipes further, so we're going to get a lot more crafting stations, which means more crafting items. 9 new sets of armor are available for crafting, which is, damn, that's a lot of new armor. So I'm hoping that's evenly split between mage, range, and melee. I'm also hoping they look cool, because if they look lame, I'm not going to be happy. 6 new building block materials and 5 new terrain materials are available for building and terraforming. Numerous new furniture and decorative props can be crafted with new materials from the new biome. Numerous props that previously couldn't be crafted by players are now available at their respective crafting stations. Among them, there are now several new crates, boxes, and sacks, carts and farming tools, archery props, and combat dummies. King-size beds now have several slots for sleeping. Well, just 2 slots, sorry. Okay, so you can assign 1 bed to 2 villagers, I guess. Building with material from the shroud no longer triggers eerie ambient sounds in the player base. Oh, that'll be nice. Fireworks have been added to the list of craftable recipes. There goes the neighborhood. I don't know why you would want to do this. I'm assuming it's like a gimmicky thing. The fossil collection shelves no longer need the ectoplasm blocks as a crafting resource. The resource has been replaced with cloth. The recipe for the secret Vaka temple door now uses the correct stone block type as a resource. Big coffin lids now have the correct size. Fixed multiple props that had incorrect comfort settings. I did notice there was a couple things that I'd build them. It didn't change my comfort settings like I thought it would. Fixed an incorrect reference to the laboratory and some recipes. Fixed an issue with the sage armor set that caused the boot recipe to not show up. Fixed incorrect classifications. Classified one-handed weapons that incorrectly appear as two-handed weapons. I guess the Wolf's Hydra was such a weapon. Fixed the position of shields on weapon stands. Fixed several minor issues with hair, hats, and helmets. God, if all games did that, that would be nice. There's so many games where those things do not line up. Fixed missed stats on the archer trousers. Some braziers have been moved from the illumination comfort category to the hearth category. Fixed an issue where the rake could modify terrain too close to the player, making them fall through the world. Fixed an issue where using a pickaxe could play a mismatch animation and swoosh effect. And disabled dismantling props delay in certain situations. So when the build hammer is selected, for example. So definitely some good improvements there. Some improvements that I didn't even know about, didn't realize were even going to be a thing. And like I said, there's some UI stuff, some text stuff, some technical improvements. But if you're interested in more, do watch the video. They did a good job of it. Gives you kind of the low key, and then I mean, hell, hop into the game, because that's what I'm going to be doing now, and seeing what it is firsthand. So I'm really looking forward to this. I'm super excited for the new armor and weapons and the new enemies in the game. I'm definitely looking forward to testing out some of the new builds as we progress to now level 35, which is huge. The weather, I'm not super looking forward to. I do like it brings the world together, makes it feel a little bit more real, especially with the upgrade to the graphics, but we'll see if it becomes a bit annoying. I might knock down some of the adjustment settings, but you know what? Whether it's annoying or not, at least they put those settings in there, so I can appreciate that. And that's pretty much it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to playing this. I hope you guys are too. I'm not sure what build I'm going to be running with. Probably going to keep on going with the caster for a bit, but I'll definitely bounce back to... I do love the tanky build, so I'll probably check that out again too. But yeah, let me know who you guys are going to be playing in this next expansion, or this next patch, and I'll see you in the next one.